on LX and Big Angry Adams, ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Faceoff on Fox Soul starts right now. In this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
All right, Quanell, I think it's a function of you and I being on TV, me and my former presence on talk radio. I have just a deluge of people sending me stuff associated with this 3 million document Jeffrey Epstein dump. Obviously, we talked about it earlier in the week, but there was an email that someone sent me that was so horrifying. And me being skeptical, right? I find that in this post-traditional media age, where everything is on this constant timer, immediately released, discussed, and we have a bunch of AI content and falsified content floating around the universe now, that we can't trust our lying eyes, and then we have to dig into stuff. But I was sent an email that I then went and searched and found myself on the justice.gov site, the official Justice Department website that is hosting the document dump. Now, I don't know who sent the email. For some unknown reason, it was redacted, but it was sent to a jevacation@gmail.com, which I presume is jeffreyepsteinvacation.com. The body of the email, this is it, Haquano, this is horrible. New Brazilian just arrived, sexy and cute, 9YO, which I read as new Brazilian just arrived, sexy and cute, 9-year-old. 9 years old. Our government knows who sent the email. Our government has had this information for years. Our government is indicating that there will be no new prosecutions associated with this dump. There was an ambassador that was alleged to have had a baby with an 11-year-old girl. A U.S. ambassador, Mexico. There are horrifying conversations that are being attributed to Harvard professors and all kinds of people. So my question is, if we know who sent an email talking about the trafficking of a 9-year-old child who's being described as sexy and cute, why on earth is our government not doing anything about it? Quanell, there's no, some murders are just awful murders, but there are murders that can be explained, like a defense of a third party, self-defense. There is sexual assaults of children should not, they're always wrong. I saw an email attributed to Woody Allen's wife where she's talking about Anthony Weiner, the former congressman, Clinton confidant, but seemed to be criticizing his victim as being the bad actor, his 15-year-old victim. And yet here we are, constantly being expected to look to Hollywood for our moral compass, to look to Washington, D.C., to direct us on how we should feel about stuff. And then, of course, you have the media, the legacy media that is incredibly complicit in driving the narratives of the left. And, of course, the conservative media that is equally complicit, but at least a little more, hey, we're politically biased. They wear that on their sleeve a bit more. Telling the right how they should feel. And it seems like they're all trying to ignore the horrible, horrible stuff in here. Why don't we know who sent that email? And why isn't that person under a damn prison somewhere, Quanell?
Because Donald Trump does not want us to know who was involved with that email. Because Donald Trump promised that his administration would release all the files involving the Epstein investigation. And Donald Trump gave his word that he would not keep anything secret. But what they have done is release millions of documents, and so much of it is redacted. you can never get to the truth. Why in the hell would Pam Bondi and anyone involved with Donald Trump's administration on a justice level allow talk about a 9-year-old child being transported to Epstein Island for sexual gratification? Why Donald Trump those names to be redacted? Every no-good bastard involved with the raping of a 9-year-old child, name should be released to the public. Donald Trump and the Department of Justice should be ashamed of themselves. That 9-year-old girl is somebody's child. Can you imagine the horror of a 9-year-old girl going to an island without her parents, without loved ones, and these men having sex with her? Can you imagine the suffering and the trauma? This is a damn shame. That is somebody's child. And I'm going to tell you straight up, I am a father of daughters. If it was one of my daughters, I would look to remove everything on earth that was involved with raping my child. His administration has the power to release those documents with no redactions and names. That's what the people must demand. Release the documents without any names redacted, because it appears that Donald Trump is attempting to cover up his own direct involvement with sexual misconduct or crimes on Epstein Island. When you got children being raped, ain't nobody too damn sacred to have themselves exposed if they were on that island involved in sexual activity. This is heartbreaking, Charles. That's somebody's child.
Well, I will say, in fairness, so it was the Bush administration, George W. Bush, who in 2008 allowed Epstein to take a sweetheart deal in South Florida where he received hardly any consequence for being a pedophile.
Yeah, because Bush Sr. was involved. His daddy was involved.
Well, so, you're right. Well, I'm talking about the prosecution. The original prosecution of Jeffrey Epstein occurred during George W. Bush's administration, and he got a very, very sweetheart deal. Right. So then you have the Obama administration, who had all of this, right? At least the stuff that existed at the time, and did nothing. Right. Did nothing at all. Then in Trump 1, I mean, let's not forget, it was Donald Trump's Justice Department that then reopened the prosecution, prosecuted Jeffrey Epstein, which led to his alleged suicide, which I think he was assassinated.
They killed him.
They killed him. Then you had the Biden administration go completely silent again, right? Democrats are talking about this a lot. They didn't talk about it at all for 4 years while Biden was in office, and Biden did nothing to disclose anything, right? Whereas Trump is the reason that Epstein was actually prosecuted for a serious crime. He's the reason Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison. I think it's horrifying that Pam Bondi's Justice Department is indicating that there's not going to be more prosecutions. So I have plenty of criticism for Donald Trump and Donald Trump's current Justice Department. But let's not forget, the only reason we know anything about any of this is because of Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump claims that once he found out what kind of guy Epstein was, he kicked him out of his Mar-a-Lago membership, and there's some evidence to support that. He ended their relationship. I don't know, right? We are seeing powerful lawyers, powerful politicians, powerful business people, powerful physicians. I saw some Deepak Chopra stuff where Deepak Chopra is alleged to have said some horrifying things in his communication with Jeffrey Epstein. All of these huge alleged luminaries who have been telling us how us working Americans who get up every day, and we've watched our quality of life diminish year after year after year. We're expected to work hard, work harder, get paid less, and give more to our government. We've watched manufacturing die in the United States and throughout the West, all for this zero emissions nonsense, while we watch China and just become this, manufacturing juggernaut, along with Vietnam and other issues that aren't in India, that aren't at all worried about the environment. Our government isn't serving us at all. And that's one thing. Like, being mad about globalization and mass migration and all this at the cost of the American worker is one thing. But seeing that our government, that both parties and the people that we are constantly force-fed the idea that we should look up to, that they were a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them were involved in a cabal of horrifying behavior, right? Criminal, disgusting, predator.
Why are you giving Donald Trump credit for prosecuting Epstein?
I'm saying that the only reason we know this is because of his administration. He should get credit for that.
Let me tell you why I don't. Because he also knew of all of the other crimes committed by others with Epstein. He also knew that Epstein should not have been the only one prosecuted. He also had access to documents like Biden did, like Obama did. It proves some real madness took place with Epstein and children. And some of the most powerful people were involved. He knew. So he gave us a breadcrumb in prosecuting Epstein, and then turned a blind eye while those in power who did not want to be further exposed assassinated Epstein so he would not cooperate with the government to get a reduction in sentence. Because could you imagine if Epstein had to start confessing and wanted a plea deal with what he could turn over and what he could expose? They murdered him to keep him quiet, but he deserved to die. Don't get it twisted. But Trump has the power, and Pam Bundy has the power to release the documents without any redaction.
Montgomery County man is facing 2 first-degree felony charges tonight in a case involving a young child. Court documents say the crime was recorded, and the child's mother says she is the one who discovered this. Fox 26's Karis Belger has that story.
According to charging documents, Victor Corey Pyatt III is charged with aggravated sexual assault of a child and promotion of child pornography, both first-degree felonies. Investigators say the incident happened January 16th. The child's mother says she asked Pyatt to watch her children until her sister could come get them so she could go to work. Later, she says she got a strange feeling something wasn't right and decided to check Pyatt's phone.
That was my first time ever going through his phone. So then I just went through his phone. The first video I saw was him and my daughter.
She tells me after seeing the video, she quietly left the room and went to her sister and says they immediately called the police. She also provided Fox 26 with this video showing Pyatt being arrested at her home. Now she says she's speaking out to protect her child and to urge anyone else who may have information or who may have been affected to come forward.
So just come forward. He's in jail. He can't hurt y'all anymore. And he can't give y'all any more hush money or keep y'all quiet. So they can all just come forward now.
In this round, here's Quanell X.
Charles, this is a story coming out of Houston, Texas, involving a social media influencer who goes by the name of Candy Bread Red, who is well known for popularizing customizing vehicles and cars in the Houston and Texas area. And this mother was involved in a relationship with this gentleman, and somehow she was involved in searching his cell phone, as a lot of women do, for many different reasons. She said she was suspicious about other things involving him and other females. So she was searching his phone and she stumbled upon this video of her child being sexually assaulted. It's horrific. It's beyond shocking. It's sick. And this man should never see the light of day. And later learned that he was uploading this material to the dark web. And for the sake of transparency, I did speak with prosecutors involved in prosecuting this case in Montgomery County. And we want to make sure that this man never gets out of prison. In fact, I said to the prosecutors, you ought to change the law. If you get caught molesting a 2-year-old child and selling the material on the dark web, you should be eligible for the death penalty.
Well, I mean, the prosecutors don't have the ability to change the punishment range, right? That's something that's done at the State House and the legislature in Austin. But I for those outside of the Houston area, obviously most of Houston sits in Harris County and most of the suburbs do, but Montgomery County is by far and away the most conservative. It's Republican controlled, and they are the most pro-law enforcement portion of the Houston metropolitan area. And did you see the longest sentences, right? Back when I was a criminal defense attorney for a couple of decades, you always charged more and dreaded representing clients up there in Montgomery County because, they don't play around up there. The DA doesn't play around, and it trickles all the way down to the rank and file in the district attorney's office. I think in Harris County, there's a very good possibility someone could do something horrible like this and just be out in just a few years. In Montgomery County, I am completely confident that whatever, I'd rather use his real name, but all I know is Candy Bread Red. I am very confident that he will die in prison after many years or after having a negative encounter, because famously the Texas Department of Corrections inmates don't have a lot of patience for people that victimize small children. This guy is, and when you talk, and a lot of people also don't understand outside of the Houston area. So we have this huge, it's called a slab culture, right? And it is, taking older vehicles, rims and wheels, switches, it's like low riders, but they're not all low riders. They have air suspensions, and he was very, very involved in it. But I think he's probably just a vampire that was vampiring off that culture, just like he was vampiring off the innocence of young children. And it is my hope, and I'm confident, I am 100% confident from what I've seen, the pleadings, Obviously there are people talking about the evidence in this, that there is actual video of the assault. I think there's zero chance, less than zero, that he is back on the streets ever again.
This man does not represent, does not speak, or is an adequate or fair representation of those good men and women who are in the slab culture. In fact, he's a stain now on the culture, but he should be laying on a cold slab with the door shut behind it. This man is sick. And in fact, I don't think the taxpayers should be responsible for paying for his 3 meals a day, paying for his health care, paying for him to get Wi-Fi and an iPad, paying for him to get his laundry done, and feeding him every day while he sits in prison. Hell no. You rape a 2-year-old child, you rape a baby, you should be eligible for the death penalty. Yes, you were totally correct when you said the prosecutors don't make the law, they enforce it, and they represent the state, but the state legislative body should change that law. At a certain age, you rape a child, you should be eligible for the death penalty.
I'm the problem with that, the rejoinder, I had a discussion at Harvard Law School many years ago with I took a death penalty course by a famous scholar, Stephen Bright. And the rejoinder to that is that if the death penalty is applied to child rapists, to sex assault, or, to just rapists, period, that it actually incentivizes the murder of people, because of course you're eliminating the witness. And if you're looking at the same consequence you are for the sexual assault as you are for the murder, these sick monsters will probably go ahead and commit the murder anyway, which is a horrible math, right? But it's probably accurate. Paying for people in prison is part of our criminal justice process. Obviously, I've represented people falsely accused of child sex assault. I think the exception, not the rule, but it doesn't happen. So you need this robust, fair system.
Recording. We're not talking about those cases where a disgruntled ex or a disgruntled woman used to date.
Even those cases are very rare.
It's spreading a lie on you. I've seen many cases where ex-wives and women going through divorce or going through
the data doesn't support that.
Have accused the father of child molestation, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a video that he was uploading. Ain't no debate about it. The guilt is right there before your eyes. He should be eligible for the death penalty. Why do you think countries that have the death penalty, you don't see these men who get caught with videos raping children, spending any time in prison? They on their way to the graveyard.
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of men that get prosecuted and get many, many years in prison. In fact, it's often when you see the light sentencing now, it usually involves a female school teacher and a male child, which is treated different because to some degree it is slightly different, but it's still a horrible crime, right? But here,
how's it different?
Well, I mean, I don't think the male victims, I don't think suffer the same scope of consequence when it is female to male. And for us to pretend is different, I don't want to get bogged down.
Why would you say that? I'm the victim of sexual assault by an older woman.
You brag about it. You actually make my point for me. You brag about it constantly, right? You're not a victim, even though you were victimized. You don't view it internally as a victim. You think it's a point of pride that you were getting some nookie at a very young age from a neighbor. I think you described her as a MILF. Is that the appropriate term? So thank you for making my point. But this is a serious subject. But then we read this and we're mad at this candy bread red monster. But just like we're talking about, it's all over the Epstein files. Okay, you're traumatized. Sure you are, Quanell. Sure. But I mean, this isn't a joking, man. This is serious stuff.
That needs to be put to death. He made a video raping a 2-year-old child.
I don't disagree.
He should die, period.
burger.